What up, what up, what up, everybody, what up? I finally did it. I see you see. I got a split screen. I'm reacting. The microphone's working. I can hear myself in the headphones. What's good? All right, I'm going to try to get into the meat and potatoes of this thing right away. If you've watched my channel already, this whole setup is new. Normally I just shoot from my phone, but I've been trying to bring this information to people for a while. And remember, this information is entertainment and, interesting knowledge. Grain of salt, do with it what you will. It's something I found out about from that picture you see right there, that Adam and Eve story, The History of Cataclysms by Chan Thomas. I found this, I don't know, I guess kind of by mistake, if you will. It was from the Suspicious Observer channel on YouTube, a guy named Ben Davison, who is a scientist that tracks everything from seismic activity to solar flares, and that'll all feed in. But I just kind of want to get into it. I literally just have that little window up so you could see the cover of the book. It's a CIA document that they held from the public for many years, and now due to the Freedom of Information Act, you can check it out yourself. There's 150 pages though that have been redacted. That's such a crazy word. Why are they hiding stuff from us? What do they know? Why did they hide it from us in the first place? All right, so what I've done is I've taken some TikToks, kind of collected some things. We're going to kind of play through them, talk about them, whatnot, and then we could go on taking the day. Oh yeah, I'm Dick. This is Dictate the Day, the channel. What's up? Let's get in there. All right. So this first one, I'm going to go ahead and switch over. Apologize for my 0 edits. That's another thing too. I don't edit. So you're getting this whole thing raw dog. I call this live later. All right, here we go. Let me restart it.
Every few thousand years, the Earth's crust doesn't just shift, it slips rapidly, like the skin of an orange, sliding over the pulp beneath. The result is global devastation. Civilizations wiped clean, mountains thrown into the sea, continents swallowed whole. This sounds like something you'd find in a dusty corner of the conspiracy internet, maybe wedged between Bigfoot sightings and Hollow Earth theories. But
right.
Here's the weird part.
Right.
It's all described in a book that was classified by the CIA. And decades later, large chunks of it were still redacted, as in black bars and missing pages, the real deal government stamp treatment. I'll be honest, when I first heard about it, I rolled my eyes. It sounded like pure nonsense. So I did what any reasonable skeptic would do. I checked the CIA's declassified archives myself, and there it was. The Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas, right on the CIA's own website. A declassified document of 55 pages, with at least 150 still hidden. Whoa, but who is that Chan Thomas dude, and what exactly did he write that made someone in Langley say, yeah, let's go ahead and file that under top secret?
Yeah.
So here's the mystery we're going to untangle today. Is the Adam and Eve story a long-buried truth about ancient cataclysms? Something we're not supposed to know, or just pure pseudo-scientific nonsense? Let's rewind to the early 1960s, a time of Cold War tension, doomsday prepping, and governments with one finger hovering nervously over the red button. The US and the Soviet Union were locked in an arms race, not just with bombs and missiles, but with ideas. Space was the new frontier. The apocalypse was just one bad day away. And in this climate of paranoia, secrecy, and scientific ambition, a man named Chan Thomas decided to write a book. And he wasn't just some crank with a typewriter. He was an engineer, a guy who worked with aerospace firms, and by all accounts, someone plugged into the mid-century tech world. The exact details of his resume are murky, which, of course, only fuels the intrigue. But he clearly moved in scientific circles. And in 1963, he self-publishes The Adam and Eve Story, meaning it wasn't released through a major publisher.
Okay. All right. Let me bring y'all into me real quick. I'm not the best with this technical stuff, but I'm learning. Check it out, y'all. It's just me. And I can bring the screen back. I know it's not that big a deal, but it is to me. I'm stoked. Okay. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there first because this is kind of like what I was saying. This is kind of how I found out about it. And I was like, well, that's real random. And why have I never heard of this before? But this is going to lead into basically theory, entertainment purposes only, but almost every civilization, you track them back all over the world, has some type of flood-like story. The Bible, Noah's Ark, the whole thing. But I'm wondering, because of the way this kind of works, because we're on this secular kind of track with these every 6,000 year polar shifts, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to play the next video. Let me prepare it here on my side. This is Tim Pool. He's got the Timcast, real big influencer on the tubes and the grams and the X's and the whole thing. And he's actually, the one I'm going to show you, if you want to tune into this one episode, he's actually interviewing Ben Davidson for like 20 minutes at the end of this one podcast he has. It's the one, here, I'll show you. It's the one, it's pole shift detected, models predict outcome of cataclysm, da-da-da-da-da. Let's just go ahead and get into it, and then we'll do some more bumping our gums. It's a 3-minute video, and I may stop it to chime in, so I apologize, but hey, that's what we're doing. All right.
Earth's magnetic pole is on the move, and scientists just updated its position. Oh, you mean in January, the media, corporate press, scientists said the magnetic poles are shifting. Now, that doesn't mean there's going to be a cataclysm.
They do it all the time.
There are many theorists who are predicting that we are going to see a major pole shift. This will cause the planet to spin, to effectively move. The United States becomes the southern hemisphere, and it gets real cold real quick. And then we can see that South America, Greenland, and a bunch of other places end up on the equator, including Antarctica. It's a really interesting 3D model that was just put out the other day. Actually, it may be older than that, but it was posted the other day as well. And with these power outages that hit in Europe and Puerto Rico, speculation and theories are that the Earth's magnetosphere is weakening, and we may be looking at a cataclysmic event. Now, recently I interviewed Ben Davidson about this. He's the space weather guy on X. Smart fellow.
Okay, I'm going to stop this for a second because it's like it's like a dual-edged sword, this pole shift thing. And I'm going to give you Dick's explanation real quick because this is kind of the way I understand it. And I am not a scientist, and this may not even be real. This could be a distraction for us to pay attention to while whatever else is going on. So, open mind, the whole process. But man, this stuff is interesting. So when the poles begin to shift, the way I understand it, let's just say north and south, right? And they start moving around and doing their thing. When that begins, and I think it began back in the 90s for us in our cycle, the ionosphere, the plasma that protects our planet, the different levels of the atmosphere or whatever, one of those, because I'm not smart enough to remember, they start to deteriorate. Like they shield our planet, and our shields begin to go down. So the pole shift can create several different levels of, oh shit, because when our shields are down, we're more susceptible from radiation from space. solar flares, CMEs, coronal mass ejections are what those are called. Just plasma bursts that move through space. They can jack us up as organic beings. They can fry our electrical stuff, and I mean fried to the point to where it would take years to get back to just rudimentary electrics again. Okay, here we go. Sorry, had to say something.
Fellow. And he believes that we are looking at a cataclysmic pole shift, and it's going to, the weakening of the magnetosphere is going to fry our electronics, send us back to the Stone Age. How long do we survive after that? Perhaps. I don't know. What I can say is he mentioned a future map of the United States. I don't know that I believe it. Apparently it was a psychic who envisioned this. But there are some interesting ideas to bounce around should this be the case. And I will admit, I am fascinated by this topic. I don't know if any of it's true, but it is interesting. And sometimes we chase after stories like this because it's fun. It's fun to imagine.
Okay, I had to stop one more time. I apologize. I don't feel like these are necessarily fun because some of these can be scary, world-changing thoughts and processes that you have to go through if you're, thinking about this stuff. But I have this belief. If you've watched any of my past videos where I'm just rambling, I'm going to say it again, church and karate. I'm not going to go into explain the church and karate. I probably will another time because I plan on making multiple of these. But the fundamental is on that belief system is if there is some tidbits of truth in this, or multiple people smarter than me believe that this could happen, whether it's true or not, whether it's just a theory, whatever it is, if it's going to affect me, go ahead and tell me. And I'm going to respect you and listen. And I don't care how crazy it is. I don't care, if it's Bigfoots, if it's parallel timelines, if it's pole shifts, if it's the Mandela, you know what I mean? Whatever. Not so much fun. They are interesting for sure. Because most of them can get kind of scary. So, all right, here we go. My bad.
It's not fun to imagine it actually happening, to be honest, but maybe. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know that any of this I believe, right? Earth's magnetic pole is on the move. Scientists update its position. We've got this from Smithsonian. It's from January. Earth's magnetic pole is shifting towards Siberia and raising questions about unusual movement. Okay, that's scary. They say the magnetic North Pole is distinct from the geographic North Pole, a fixed point where the Earth's axis meets its surface. Instead, magnetic north is the changing location where the planet's magnetic field lines converge. This field is generated by the churning of the planet's outer core, a layer of molten iron and nickel that begins roughly 1,800 miles beneath Earth's surface. As the fluid dynamics of the core change, the magnetic pole shifts over time in a process known as geodynamo. Now something unusual seems to be happening. The current behavior of magnetic north is something that we've never observed before. Earth's magnetic...
Okay. All right. I tell you what is fun, though, is me getting to do something new on this YouTube channel. These are going to get better. Okay, the camera, sorry. My microphone is so powerful. I can hear the birds chirping if there's no outside distracting noise. And I'm trying to do this all before, my wife gets home and the neighbor starts getting onto his dog or whatever, you know what I mean? So I apologize. And this will grow. I'm at 95 subscribers and, whatever. I was going to play some copyrighted music, but I was like, you know what? I am not trying to, whatever. All right, so let me check what the next one I have planned for us to digest. All right, I honestly don't even remember what this one is, but let me bring you in. Let's check it out anyway. All right. Oh yeah, geomagnetic storms. Man, once again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. All right, but if this stuff starts apparently happening at least we have some understanding of what to expect next. And you can kind of prepare in the meantime. You don't have to go overboard, but, be prepared. Not scared. Okay, let's go.
Marked the spot of the acceleration of this ongoing magnetic pole shift or geomagnetic excursion that, again, is due every 6,000 years and is due right now. With this information, we were no longer speculating about what has happened over the last 13 or 14 months. The data is now in. We had a major acceleration in March of 2023. It is the reason why we are having new and unprecedented types of geomagnetic disturbance. It's the reason why we're breaking auroral records. It's the reason why this weekend there is a 10 to 15% chance that we're going to get the solar kill shot, whereas 20 years ago we would be saying, hey, this is kind of significant. If you get a chance and there's no clouds in the sky, go outside, see if you can see the northern lights. This is going to be quite the wallop we're taking for the sun. But we're on another level now with this, and it's because, as we had been guessing for the last 6 to 8 months, the magnetic field, the magnetic pole shift is accelerating. It's weakening, and we are basically on a pretty solid downward spiral. Mark the spot of the...
So that gentleman right there that is talking, that's Ben Davidson. And man, he is a super smart dude. Compared to me, some of the stuff that he talks about, I have to stop whatever he's saying. He puts out a daily video on YouTube. It's called Suspicious Observer is the channel. I know I've said it already, but you should check it out. Just for, shits and gigs. What he's talking about there is the fact that normally when we have the protection from the sun, the ionosphere, the magnetosphere, all the things I was talking about. When we have our shields up and they're 100%, and let's say the sun pops off a giant CME, while the shields are up, nothing really happens to us. There is some things, we'll get some tectonic plate movement, so earthquakes possibility. But what happens is we get these really cool aurora borealis, that usually are up towards, I think, the top of the United States, or top of the world, sorry. But just of late, people have been seeing these in areas where we thought it was impossible to see. And that's because these CMEs, these coronal mass ejections, are basically slipping right through. And basically on the surface of the Earth, it gets bombarded with radiation. So there's that. All right, let's see what I got next. Okay, boom. One of my favorite channels to follow is the Y-Files. If I can make a suggestion to you, AJ and Hecklefish, they're the ones that host the show. And yes, I said Hecklefish. You probably know they have millions of subscribers. But he's talking about it in this clip here on the good old TikTok. And they're going to show you a map. And this is a U.S. naval map. I can't remember exactly how this came about or why this was created. But this is like a guesstimation of, let's say, the poles flip and then they correct. Because from what I understand, once the whole thing initiates, its cycle, it happens in 6 days. So once the big boom, so it's happening now, yes. But once the big shink and then it goes back, because it flips back automatically, the catastrophe that erupts on the surface because of what's going on the inside, because of what's of the Earth's core, because some of it's metal, so it's being moved, and that's how the poles get moved. The atmosphere on the Earth is I shouldn't say the atmosphere, the surface of the Earth is going to get rearranged because the Earth is constantly spinning, right? And it's supposed to be thousands. I don't even know if we're on a globe, y'all. Okay, so this is just for fun. I don't know. Is it flat? Is it round? I don't know. I'm 50 years old, and I don't know if the Earth is round or not. That's crazy, but that's what's going on, all right? I've heard arguments both ways, and they kind of make sense. I was raised thinking it was round. Okay, I'm slipping into a whole nother conspiracy theory. That one's coming soon. I can't wait till I get into the whole Illuminati Majestic 12. Let's go. Okay, next one, let me go ahead and bring y'all into some talk. Tickety talk. Dick rockin' the talk. Oh, hey, that's not a bad title. Dick rockin' the talk. Oh, I was also thinking for some cool little monikers. Like, you know, because my channel is called Dictate the Day, and I'm Dick, a.k.a. God-given name Richard. Dick's way funner. Ask my wife. No, that's inappropriate. Let's dick into it. That's what I was thinking about. You know what I mean? Instead of let's get into it. Let's dick into it. Or Eddie Bravo says, look into it. Dick says, let's dick into it. Okay, that's a thing. And I'm going to make that a thing. So get ready, because we're dicking into it. All right, let me restart this. This is from the Y-Files again.
In 1936, Edgar Cayce predicted that the world would undergo a pole shift between 16 and 20 degrees. And this would happen when both Mount Etna in Italy and Mount Pelée in Martinique erupt together. And when that happens, we'll have 90 days to evacuate the coastlines.
Are those volcanoes still active?
Oh, they are. Mount Etna just erupted a few months ago, and scientists at Mount Pelée said that the seismic activity there is above baseline.
No.
Now, if the poles do shift, as Edgar Cayce predicts, the world map is going to look very different. Africa will be divided into 3 parts.
I'm gonna make
the
this
Nile
bigger.
will widen, and a brand new waterway will split the continent. As the Red Sea grows, Cairo will eventually disappear into the sea. Asia is already very seismic and will suffer the most dramatic changes. Land will be covered from the Philippines to Japan by the ocean. As the Pacific plate shifts, the islands of Japan will sink, leaving only a few small islands. Taiwan and most of Korea will be completely lost to the sea. The entire coast of China will be pushed inland hundreds of miles. The population of India will be told not to seek higher ground within the interior of the country due to buckling of the land. Instead, they'll have to head to the Himalayas. The high mountains of Tibet and Nepal will provide refuge. Antarctica will no longer be covered in ice, but will once again become fertile and green. Australia will lose nearly 25% of its land due to coastal flooding. The Adelaide area will become a new sea. The Simpson and Gibson deserts will become fertile farming land. New Zealand will actually grow in size and will once again connect to mainland Australia. And New Zealand will ultimately become one of the safest areas in the New World.
Lucky Kiwis.
Europe will suffer. Most of Northern Europe will.
Okay, the Europe one is really depressing. Get ready. I mean, that thing is almost gone. But I had to stop this for a minute. I have been attracted to New Zealand for my entire life. I love it. It's great. I call it Middle Earth because that's where they shot Lord of the Rings, and I love that stuff. Some people say I look like a wizard. Whatever. My children, especially. But I'm going, okay? This YouTube channel is going to pop. Whatever. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to hit the lottery tonight. Yeah. And I'm going to New Zealand. So I'm going to be shooting these videos from New Zealand. And now that I know that it's potentially one of the safer places, if this pops off, we might as well be living in paradise while we wait. Okay, sorry. Caffeine's kicking a little talkie. Here we go.
Europe will simply be gone, sunk into the sea as the tectonic plate underneath it collapses.
Look at that.
Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark disappear, eventually becoming hundreds of small islands. Most of the UK, from Scotland to the English Channel, will disappear into the ocean, but several small islands will remain. London and Birmingham will actually survive, but not as cities, as islands.
Crazy.
Ireland will disappear completely except for land at high elevation. Russia will be separated from Europe by an entirely new sea when the Caspian, Black, Kara, and Baltic seas combine. The new sea will stretch all the way to Siberia. Russia's climate will remain intact, leaving Russia to supply most of Europe's food.
Putin is going to be king of the world.
You mean he isn't already?
You make a good point.
In Canada, most of the coastline will be pushed in by 200 miles. Regions in Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and areas of Alberta will become the refugee survival center of Canada. As the North American plate buckles, the new islands of California will be created with almost 150 separate islands. The West Coast will recede east toward Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado. The Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence will join and continue from the Mississippi River all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. All coastal areas from Maine to Florida will be taken over by water and pushed inland for miles. Most of the coastal areas of Mexico will be flooded. the California Baja coast will ultimately become a series of islands. Billions of people will be displaced by this cataclysm. Billions more will be killed.
Well, that was cheerful.
Sorry about that.
When is this pole shift supposed to happen?
Well, Casey said 1998.
Oh, we're fine.
Yeah, but NASA has detected a slight pole shift that could be a concern.
When did they detect the shift?
1998.
Yeah, damn it.
Damn it is right. Okay. I want to talk about something else about that map. Google that map if you feel like it. See where you're at in their guesstimations. Are you going to have beachfront property now? Like, I don't know. But the map that they are showing is, like I was saying, a guesstimation. You know, you move one of those huge new bodies of water east, west, north, south, whatever, a couple hundred miles, because they were off in this guesstimation, because they measured the elevation of the land and where pockets of water would stay. You know, how accurate is that? Where is that water going to go? From what I understand, it's all about elevation. You want to be high up, like mountain-esque. That's what I have found out in my research of said topic. All right. I got one more video to show, and it's kind of random, and it's Pharrell, you know what I mean? Little skateboard me, okay. And he's talking to man, that real
Celebrities
famous,
know their time is up.
my bad. He's talking to that real famous producer. I think it's Rick Rubin. Crazy. He looks like a wizard. I think that's who that is. That Rick Rubin? I don't know who it is. It's one of those dudes. Hold on. Here we go.
Their celebrities know their time is up.
The poles have shifted already.
What?
And when the poles shift, everything in the matrix is just it's a new color, it's a new taste, it's the new smell, it's a new feeling, and the rules change.
Celebrities know their time is up.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there. Because I do feel like if something like this, and whether it's this detail or not, or whatever it is it Nibiru coming by that lowers the shields, Planet X? Man, I don't know. But that's also a theory in this. Whenever I think about stuff like this, stuff that we found out that, you know, our fearless leaders, the Gov, have known about for decades, it makes me think of CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, which I'm going to do another video on at some point. There's just so many topics. I'm so ready. But is this, yes, I know it's supposedly an attempt to open up portals and multiple timelines, but is that because they're trying to avoid this catastrophe thing that is a possibility? Entertainment purposes only. That's all I'm saying. Man, I don't know. But I think I have shared enough to intrigue my viewers, my regular viewers. If there was new viewers today, thank you for checking it out. Welcome to Dictate the Day. What it do? What it do? To the new, what it do? I'm going to go ahead and dip out. My normal channel, I talk about taking the day, seizing your opportunities, no wasted moments. I'm going to keep that theme. Even though I'm reacting to stuff, I hate saying the word reacting. I feel like I'm sharing knowledge, you know. But I guess technically I am reacting. And I guess reacting is a buzzword, so it does better if you put that in your hashtags on the YouTube. I'm new to this, so I'm figuring it out. Yeah. My wife's going to be home soon anyway. And I'm the only one in my family that ain't afraid to be on camera. I ain't scared. But yeah. Get ready, everybody, because I'm going to bring a bunch of this fun stuff. I'm going to, go over the UFC fights. There's big ones coming up. I'm super stoked for the Sugar Sean, Merab. I am so emotionally invested into the Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway fight. And I know I'm switching genre subject matter here, but welcome to Dick's Brain, okay? From mixed martial arts to conspiracy theories to ways to motivate and stay disciplined. That's what we're doing on this channel. All right, thank you once again, everyone. I love you very much. Remember, share your knowledge. That's what I'm attempting to do, sharing my knowledge. Always spread your love, because if you're having trouble trying to figure out how to take the day, dictate your day, take the day, that's one of the best ways to do it. All right, I love you guys. Dick's gonna dip. I'll see you on the flip.